This woman deeply misses her late husband. In order to bring him back to herself, a woman took genes from her husband's body to participate in an experiment. She impregnated herself and eventually gave birth to her husband again. The woman plans to raise him as a child, and when he grew up, she'd think of him as her husband. When he was a child, she visited her grandfather on vacation. She accidentally met Jack, who was a cheerful and lively man. They were about the same age and soon became inseparable friends. But the day of parting was fast approaching. The vacation was over and they promised to meet again in the future, but only waited for a long time. But Jack never showed up 10 years later, and he returned to the town she had longed for. She found Jack's house, as she remembered, but she accidentally met Jack's new girlfriend. The scene was very awkward. The two of them had a long time to talk, and eventually Jack's girlfriend got mad at them, and he can't help but ask Jack why he didn't show up for his appointment. Instead of explaining, Jack hands her a matchbook. Inside was a snail shell. It turns out that Jack intended to give the snail shell to Annie as a gift, but something came up and he missed the meeting. Misunderstandings were finally resolved, and they made up. They became an enviable couple. But this day, while they were out playing, Annie suddenly needed to go to the bathroom. So she got out of the car and found a bush to go to the bathroom. But before she could walk a few steps, there was the sound of brakes behind her. Annie immediately felt bad. She went back and saw that Jack had been knocked to the ground and was not breathing. It turned out that Jack also wanted to go down to get some air. He was hit by a car speeding behind him. The two of them saw the happiness that was within their reach shattered. Annie couldn't accept the fact that Jack had died. She was in a constant state of grief. By chance, she learned at the hospital that the dead can be brought back to life through genetic replication by extracting the genes from the dead. The child born after 10 months of pregnancy will look exactly like Jack, although the new life form has no consciousness or memories. But Annie doesn't care. All she wanted was for Jack to be with her all the time. So Annie immediately contacted Jack's parents and explained her plan. But even though the mother missed her son, she didn't want Annie to open the coffin and dig up the grave and go against nature. So the mother rejected any request and urged her to try to move on from her grief. Just when any thought or plan had failed, Jack's father approached her to sign the family consent form, and before he left, he told Annie to think twice before going through with it. But without hesitation, Annie decided to go ahead with the operation. As time passed, Annie's belly grew,